you've made a lot of like big steps, big moves. And I was just wondering, like, that self-discipline, that self-motivation, how did you stay so, like, on track all this time? Any tips?
I think this is going to vary for different people, but for me, I think having strict parents really helped a
Mm,
lot. My
okay,
parents were my parents, both of them were always focused. So they were really hard workers, and
okay.
they'd made sure that we were well taken off and we were put into school. And so I think when I was going to school, high school, for example, primary school, high school, I was playing a lot. I was not really focused. But until I started to see how my actions were affecting my parents, you know, because
Mm,
as you grow, you start to look at all the effort that your parents have done, right? And
mm,
then for you to take those opportunities and then squander them or not care, you start to see how painful it is for them, especially with all the hard work they've had to put into it. And so, for example, I'll give you when I was in high school,
mhm,
uh, I made the decision to join the bad groups. So
mm,
I started to party a lot, started to drink a
mm,
lot. I was smoking weed, and I was just. I guess it was the phase of high school. But
mm,
when my parents learned that this is what I was doing, with
mm.
the opportunity they had given me, and the pain I think that they felt, I took it a little bit more seriously. I thought, oh my goodness, it matters what I do because there are
Mm.
people who have sacrificed for me to be here. So
Okay, well,
coming out from high school, then I think that's when I started to grow a little bit and to learn that it mattered what I do with my time. And I think that's where I started to be more focused. So it's a journey, really. Some people learn to start focusing late in life. Some people do it way earlier than high school. Some people become more focused in primary school. You know, it just
mm,
depends on where you are in your journey and what factors are influencing what you're
okay.
doing at the time.
Okay, wow, that's actually really like wow. So like it was looking at how it affects the people you love, your parents, like
Correct.
your actions. But then
Correct.
in Australia, you still kept on going up, and it wasn't an expectation. It wasn't like I don't know, like if it was your parents, I assume weren't like, okay, you have to go to Australia, you have to be a CEO, you have to do this, this, this. It was more like just, don't do stupid things, but you went above and beyond, and you are reaching like a lot of goals that like that self-discipline, like, is it still just for them, or is it
No, at some point, there is definitely a cutoff point because at some point it's just no longer about them because they
Mhm.
have lived their lives, they're doing what they need to do, and this is
Okay,
now my life. What do I want for myself? You know,
okay,
uh, at the end of the day, what I do now, of course, if I make the wrong choices, they would still feel disappointed, but it would affect me more than it would affect them, right? So I still need to
right.
have a vision for my life. What do I want out of my life? And if I choose right, then I benefit, but they also benefit.
Mm.
But at some point, yeah, there's definitely a cutoff. I was doing this to make sure that they were not disappointed, that their actions or their efforts, sacrifices were acknowledged. So
Okay.
that part is,
Mm.
is is ticked off. But now, what do I want for my life? So
Okay.
you sort of need to have a vision for your life. If you don't have a vision for your life, then you are bound to take different turns at different points in your life because you don't know where you're going. So if the wind is
Mhm.
blowing to the left, that's where you go. If the wind is blowing to
Mhm.
the right, that's where you go, right?
Mm.
But if you've
Right.
got a vision and you say, this is what I want to achieve, and then you just work on it. Even if the wind is blowing to the left, but you know your vision is to the right, and so you steer yourself
Mhm.
in the
Don't go
right
with the
direction.
crowd.
You don't go
Yeah,
with the
I see.
crowd, you know. You just get focused. So
How
when
about
when I came to Aussie, I think I had sort of mastered the foundational skills in terms, I guess, maybe self-discipline. So,
yeah.
of course, when I came to Aussie, I knew there was partying going on. I was invited to those parties, and initially I attended because I wanted to connect with people.
Oh, okay.
But because I had a vision, I could not continue going to those parties because one, they were eating away from my time to develop the things I wanted to achieve, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
two, uh, with that distraction, then I was just going to end up back into what I was doing back in high school and primary school and just
Mm-hmm.
going in all sorts of directions. So because I had a vision, I wanted to achieve something. The parties were not going to be the route for me to achieve my dreams. I had to sort of win back that time to sort of create the
Mm-hmm.
life I wanted to live in, you know?
Okay, wow, no, that is very inspiring. But for people who perhaps don't have, um, like the most strictest parents, who the parents will be like, do what you love, who may even overlook that whole partying scene, and like, what would you, and they want to get it together, they want to become self-disciplined, but they don't have that foundation, what would you recommend?
If again, you need to they need to think about what they want for their lives, right? So
Okay,
if
their
if you
future.
yeah, their future, because it's no
Uh-huh,
longer
uh,
especially if you're an adult, right? You're over 18 years old.
mhm,
You are a grown up, and at that point critical thinking should kick in. You need to start thinking about what do I want for my life as opposed to what do my parents want or what do they want to see.
mhm.
You're a grown up,
Okay, I
right?
like that.
So you need to start thinking about what type of life do you want to have, uh, and
Okay.
what are the steps that you need to do to get there. And so
Okay.
take stock of all the activities that you're involved in, uh, and then ask yourself the question, does this help me get to where I want to get to in the future?
Mhm,
If the answer
mhm.
is no, then that's a quick removal from that list.
Wow.
Then
Yeah,
I don't need to be doing this because it's not going to help
I
me,
see.
you know.
Okay.
So
Okay, okay. No, I see what you're saying. That's definitely like, yeah, to have like a goal and then to look. No, I see that. I like that. Another question I had, and I've really been trying to figure this one out, is if you go through something hard, like whatever it may be, what is the best coping mechanism? And it's also the motivation to go for a healthy coping mechanism, because sometimes if I go through something, I want a quick fix. So I just want to numb the pain quickly, which we all know, like, it's not like things that come quick, they're not going to last long. So, like, for you, if you're willing to share, like, how would you say, like, when things aren't going that well, what's your coping mechanism?
hmm. Coping mechanism, let's see. So I think for me, it has to be my family. You need to surround yourself with a supporting system.
Mhm.
Because life is not meant to be done alone. You know, life is not an island. You can't do everything by yourself, and you will need the support of others at various points in your life, right? So for me, I think talking to my family helps a lot with that. Uh, so
Okay.
I talk with them. I talk with them, especially every weekend. I'll give them
Mhm.
as much time as possible. But as much as I'm talking to them and they're sharing what's going on in their life, in return, that also helps me because I'm able to share. This is how I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And we're constantly sharing ideas of how to do it better, as opposed to me
Okay.
sitting down and trying to figure everything out by myself. you find that a lot of the times the problems we deal with, there has been a solution already created for that, or people have
Mhm.
already, there's so many people who have already gone through that path before you. And so
Mhm.
you don't necessarily need to recreate the wheel, right? You can lean on other people who've gone before you. Uh, and especially our parents, because they've been around for a long time, they know
Mhm.
the challenges that we may face, and as their children, they know, they understand us better. So I think family is probably the first point of contact in terms of, I need help, I'm struggling with this, what do you think, right? And if they may not be able to help you, then probably the next thing would be to look at communities of people that are sort of going through the same problem that you may be going through. And obviously in these communities, they would be sharing solutions. Uh, so it's either that you look for communities where people are talking about the same problem and sharing solutions, or church as well. If you're a religious person, go to church and have that church family surround you and help you pray for that issue as well. You know,
No, I
quick,
think that's really good.
yeah.
What if you're used to a bad coping mechanism like drugs and alcohol and stuff? Like you were saying in high school, you were in that crowd. Was it hard to get out of it? Because as we know, it can be addictive and everything. What happens when you're a little bit too addicted and then you kind of
Mm,
blocked out every other coping mechanism?
yeah. For me, I think high school for me has to do a lot with peer pressure. You see, a lot of
Mhm.
my friends were doing it, so because I was part of the crowd, naturally I followed suit and I also participated. It was fortunately not an addiction that I had struggled to letting go of. It was something that I was able to say, well, I don't really need this. I understand what it is. I understand why people do it. I understand the momentary gratification it brings.
Mhm.
Well and good, but at the end of the day, for me, it does not really improve who I want to be. It does not take me closer to the goal I want to achieve. And so it was easy for me to let it go. But if it is an addiction that you're dealing with that is difficult to let go, it can't
Yeah.
be a quick fix. It's good to acknowledge that there is this problem. Once you acknowledge that there is that problem, then you can say, well, can I start taking small steps into resolving this? For example, if it is, let's say, drinking, you might say, well, if I'm drinking every day of the week, maybe let me reduce the amount I drink. Maybe on a Saturday, I'll take a break, just a Saturday, you know,
Okay, okay.
and
Small
see how,
step. What?
small steps, and see how you go
Oh,
with just letting that Saturday off. And then once you feel like you've got the hang of, okay, Saturday, I've been able to achieve Saturday, maybe let me do Friday and Saturday off, and then you
okay.
see how you go.
Yeah,
But
it builds on. Very nice. I like that.
again, instead of doing it alone, find people who are also, on
Support.
the same issue that they're dealing with and they're trying to improve. In that way,
Mhm.
you've got support, right? And someone is keeping you accountable, and they can
Mm,
check in on you and say, well, were you able to beat today? Did you succeed? If
mhm,
not,
mhm,
don't worry about it. Let's try again next Saturday. I'll be around with you,
mhm.
and you sort of do life together, as opposed to doing it alone.
Okay, okay, I like that. I really like that. I think that's really good. Um, in like, in regards to what do you like ever have bad days? Cause like I've known you for like a while, and like you just always seem so on top of it, always like grinding, always coming up with a new side hustle.
I wish,
Do
I
you
wish, I
ever?
wish, man, I wish life was straightforward and you're always on a
Well,
high.
that's the thing. That's the thing. You look like shit. Like I always like yeah. You're like making moves. I'm like, good on you, but how? And
It's
damn.
just it's not like that. It's just like that picture of an iceberg, on the surface, you see all the success, but the bit that is underneath the water, the stress and the anxieties and tiredness is something that people don't see a lot of. But there's a lot of that, you know, that I've got some days where I just feel like, what exactly am I doing here today? You know, I do not have energy for today. I do not care for today. I may show up at work, but internally, I am not there at all. I'll still do my performing of what I need to do, my duties, but internally, I feel like I just need to escape. Today, I feel like I just want to go and be at the beach. I just want to switch off my computer. I don't want to look at anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with any problem. I don't care.
Yeah.
I I
Yeah,
I
that's
I I I get a lot of those days, a lot of the times, you know.
but
But
you definitely don't show it, that's for sure.
it's just now the things that you can choose to do. It's like wants and needs. I don't want to be here, but I need to be here because
Mm,
if I don't do this, then I'm not able to achieve that other next step. So it's like you have to fight your feelings. I don't feel like it, but what do feelings have to do with anything? Uh, I can feel however way I want. I can be in a mood, but I still need to show up, right? And I still need to deliver what I've promised. Because at the end of the day, for example, if we talk about work, I've signed a contract and I've agreed that I will show up Monday to Friday between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and I will deliver X amount of whatever the agreement is, right? So, in terms of integrity, I still need to show up regardless of how I feel. Even if I don't feel like working today, but I gave my word that I would be there and that I would show
mm,
up and that I would
very committed.
deliver, you know? So, there are off days. I think everybody gets them, and I think it's
Yeah, like,
it's human.
mm,
It's just not that you're doing anything wrong. That is part of life. What matters is how do you manage those off days, when you're out of
mm,
it, you know. So if you are able to do the bare minimum, then I think you are
still
okay.
do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've done something. It's okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and if you feel like today I can't show up and there is like a legit reason why, then
Yeah.
talk to the people who you are responsible to and say, look, I'm not able to do, for example, if I'm sick.
Mm,
And if I'm sick, yeah, look, there's nothing I can do about it. I am not well. I need to take some
mm,
time off so I can, get myself in a better
mm.
situation. And if
Okay.
people that you
Valid.
work for care for you, then they would be able to understand, and give you, some space, you know.
Okay, I like that. So very, very committed. Speaking of commitment, like I wanted to ask, like the whole relationship thing, like such a I don't know, like I personally have gone to the point where I don't really believe in love. Where it's not like, oh, it's so sad. I don't know. It's like I believe in God's love for for us, but
Mm.
that's about it. I just it's just like, do you think that we really other like as people we need like a soulmate? We need that other person?
Yeah, look,
A need or a want?
I would encourage you not to give up on love.
Oh,
No matter how bad it gets, it's a real thing. Again, life was not created to be done alone. You need community. Not that you have to be in a relationship to have a successful life. There are so many people who are living lives as single people, right? And they're flourishing and they've decided that that is the path they're going to take. You may have to weigh out what are the benefits between doing it alone and being in a relationship, right? If you're in a
mm,
relationship, of course, you have to. I think that the biggest challenge about relationships is that it's a reflection of who you are. So
Mhm.
if you've got a partner, it's like they put up a mirror against you and they show you that this is
Yeah.
who you are. And the challenge with that is you have to look in that mirror and accept that, oh my goodness, I'm not as cool as I thought I am. I'm not as good as I thought I am. You know, I still have a lot of work to do. So it can be draining. But if you're committed to a relationship, I think that is one of the first things you need to sign up for. This person is actually going to put up a mirror against you and they're going to show you that you're really not cool. You thought you're patient, but you really
You
are
gotta
not a
fix your.
patient person. You thought you were loving, but you're struggling here. You get angry often. You thought you
Mhm.
thought you're this and that, but you're not. And so you have to work on this. And so a lot of the times we project our issues on other people, right?
Mhm.
So
Okay. Okay.
the challenge of relationships is that they challenge you to grow, beyond what you think or the level where you think you are. And for a lot of people, it may not be so easy to deal with that. Someone putting up a mirror against you and telling you,
Well,
well, you're
yeah.
not really good. Yeah. And
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like, if I, would be corrected in any terms, like don't drink as much, don't do that, don't do this, I can't help but find it controlling. And then if I'm having a little bit of a debate, like, wait, maybe they actually care, maybe they have a point, I'll go to my friends and then they'll back me up and be like, no, 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 that guy's controlling, like, you got to get rid of him. So then I
I've,
got that support system, but it's not the healthiest. And it's like, ah,
I've had that reflection reflected me as well, where I
mm,
I corrected a partner to say, well, I think do it this way instead of that way, and it was taken as you're controlling.
mm,
Uh, if you ask me personally, I think that is running away from taking accountability and
mm,
finding a way out from growth.
mm.
So if
Okay.
somebody is saying, do this instead of that, and they're giving you a reason why, and they're telling you this is going to be good for you, they are actually looking out for you. They're trying to help you, you know.
Mm,
I always say we are grown-ups, and so we all have the freedom to make choices. For example, I would never force a partner to do something they don't want to do. So usually I would say, I think you should do X instead of Y because this is how it's going to help you out. And then I leave that choice up to them to decide what they want to
mm,
do. Again, because we're all grown-ups at the end of the day, uh, you
yeah,
should want to do better. You should want to grow. You should want to have somebody who's able to challenge you to do better, right? But if you've got a
right,
partner who doesn't challenge you at all and they just leave you to do whatever you want to do, then probably that's not the right person for you to be with. Because
right, right.
if I ask you to project your life 10 years down the track with this sort of behavior from your partner where they just, you can do whatever you want to do. It's okay. I love you. Do whatever you want to do. 10 years down the line, how would that relationship look like? Uh,
Mm,
you'd have a different answer as opposed to if they were actually, you know, proactively giving you tips. Do it this way instead of doing it that way. Try this instead of that. It may seem controlling in the moment, but I think the best lessons are those when you look back and say, "Oh my goodness, if
mm.
I'd listened, maybe the outcome would have been better."
Do you believe, like, no, I see what you're saying. Do you believe, like in the traditional male role, like males work and women cook and clean, or like, or do you believe everyone contributes? What's your take on
I think everyone contributes.
it? Yes.
Everyone contributes. It's about helping each other out. I've seen this in my family where my dad
Mm,
was able to cook for the family and, and my mom was able to cook for the family. So it was just finding spaces where you can jump in to help. Uh,
okay, okay.
I don't think it has to be set in stone that you're the woman, so now you have to cook, you know. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
but generally the woman takes care of the home, you know. They say the man goes and buys
yeah.
groceries and the woman is able to prepare a meal. The man can buy a house, but the woman is the one that is able to create a home out of that. So naturally
Mm,
that's what we tend to do. But that's not to say that as a man you can't assist with some of the duties that the
mm,
woman does, you know. But
mhm.
society or just the way life has been set up is that women tend to do certain things better than men, and men tend
Yeah,
to focus on
vice versa.
certain on
Mhm.
duties than women. Um,
Yeah.
but I think a good household is where you're still able to understand each other and assist each other in whatever duties that you're doing.